Hello, story lovers, and welcome to Infidelity Tales Lab. We're grateful for having such amazing viewers like you. Tell us, which part of the world are you watching from today? Morning coffee or evening wind down? Share below. Now let's dive into today's story. Music and laughter filled the Sterling's backyard as neighbors mingled at the annual block party. Art Sterling moved with purpose between the gathering clusters of people, ensuring everyone had drinks and felt welcome. His muscular frame, honed from regular workouts, commanded respect even as his easy smile put people at ease. Art, could you help me with this? Esme called from near her art display. She struggled with a large canvas that threatened to topple in the light breeze. Got it, sis, Art replied, striding over to secure the piece. His strong hand steadied the frame while Esme adjusted the easel. There, that should hold. Thanks. Esme stepped back to examine her work. You always make everything look so easy. Art squeezed her shoulder affectionately. That's what big brothers are for. His eyes swept across the party, taking in the scene with quiet intensity. Children chased each other through the scattered groups of adults while the aroma of grilled meat wafted from several competing barbecues. His gaze settled on his wife, Gwen, who held court near the drink station. Her sundress swirled around her legs as she gestured animatedly, her audience captivated by whatever story she was telling. Her laughter rang out, drawing more people into her orbit. She certainly knows how to work a crowd, Esme muttered, following his line of sight. That she does? Art's voice remained neutral, but his jaw tightened almost imperceptibly. He'd always admired Gwen's social grace, her ability to make others feel special. After 8 years of marriage, he still felt a surge of pride watching her charm their neighbors. Yet lately, something felt off, subtle changes in her behavior he couldn't quite pin down. Across the yard, Nadia Petrova observed the scene with growing unease. New to the neighborhood, she'd spent the past few months piecing together the disturbing reality behind the perfect suburban facade. Her fingers clenched around her glass as she watched Gwen's performance. Nadia noted how Gwen's hand lingered on Caleb Thorne's arm, the way their eyes met with shared secrets. Caleb's wife Monica chatted nearby, oblivious to the charged interaction. The same pattern repeated with other couples, meaningful glances, subtle touches, private jokes that excluded their spouses. Excuse me, Nadia murmured to her conversation partner and began making her way toward Art. Her heart hammered against her ribs. She'd agonized over this decision for weeks, but she couldn't stay silent any longer. Art looked up as she approached, his expression welcoming. Nadia, right? How are you settling in? Mr. Sterling. Art, I need to speak with you. Nadia's voice trembled slightly. Privately, something in her tone made Art straighten, his casual demeanor shifting to alert attention. Of course, he guided her to a quieter spot near Esme's art display. What's on your mind? Nadia drew a deep breath. You don't know me, but your wife does. Those weekly neighbors' meetings? They're not what you think. She forced herself to meet his steady gaze. They're husband-swapping parties. Your wife started it all, and she's swapped husbands at least 39 times until now. She spends a wild night with each of her lovers. Art's expression remained eerily still as he processed her words. The only visible reaction was a slight whitening of his knuckles as his grip tightened on his drink. That's quite an accusation, he said, his voice dangerously soft. Do you have proof? I've seen them, heard them. Nadia glanced around nervously. Your wife isn't as careful as she thinks. She brags about it when she thinks no one important is listening. She laughs about how trusting you are. A muscle twitched in Art's jaw. His eyes found Gwen across the yard, watching as she whispered something in Caleb's ear. How many times had he dismissed similar moments as innocent flirtation? How long had he ignored his instincts to preserve the illusion of their perfect marriage? Why are you telling me this? His question carried weight beyond the simple words. Because it's wrong. Nadia's voice strengthened with conviction. Because good people are being hurt. Because you deserve to know the truth. Art was silent for a long moment, his mind racing through years of memories, re-examining them through this new lens. Small inconsistencies suddenly became glaring red flags. The late nights, The secret phone calls. The unexplained expenses. Thank you, Nadia. His tone was measured, controlled. He pulled out his phone and held it out to her. Next time, live stream the party to every spouse. Nadia's eyes widened at the cold fury underlying his calm demeanor. She accepted the phone with trembling fingers. Are you sure? Absolutely. Art's smile didn't reach his eyes. It's time everyone saw the truth. He turned back to the party, his movements deliberate and precise. Gwen caught his eye and waved, blowing him a kiss. Art raised his glass in acknowledgement, his expression pleasant, but his eyes calculating. Esme approached, sensing the tension. Everything okay? No, Art replied quietly. But it will be. He watched as Gwen moved to another group, spreading her charm like poison. I've given her everything. My trust, my loyalty, my love. She took it all and turned it into a joke. What are you going to do? Esme asked, concern evident in her voice. Art took a measured sip of his drink. I'm going to show her that my kindness wasn't weakness, that my trust wasn't blindness. His voice hardened. And I'm going to make her regret ever thinking she could play me for a fool. The party continued around them, a symphony of laughter and conversation. But beneath the surface, something had fundamentally shifted. Art moved through the crowd with newfound purpose, his friendly demeanor masking the tactical mind already formulating plans. He noted which neighbors gravitated toward each other, cataloging potential participants in Gwen's betrayal. He observed the subtle hierarchies, the alliances, the vulnerabilities he'd overlooked before. Each piece of information became a weapon in his growing arsenal. As the sun began to set, Gwen made her way to his side, wrapping an arm around his waist. Having fun, honey? Always. Art pressed a kiss to her temple, ignoring the scent of unfamiliar cologne that clung to her skin. You've outdone yourself with this party. Anything for our wonderful neighbors. Gwen beamed at the gathering. We're so lucky to have such an amazing community. Yes, Art agreed, his arm tightening almost imperceptibly around her shoulders. And soon everyone will see exactly how amazing it is. The party wound down as darkness fell, neighbors drifting home with promises to meet again soon. Art helped clean up mechanically, his mind already several steps ahead. He'd always been methodical, strategic in his business dealings. Now those same skills would serve a different purpose. Gwen yawned dramatically as they headed inside. I'm exhausted. Think I'll take a bath and head to bed early. Sweet dreams. Art watched her climb the stairs, noting how she checked her phone as soon as she thought she was out of sight. He pulled out his own phone and sent a brief text to Leo. Need your help. Urgent. Call me tomorrow. The response came immediately. You got it, boss. Art settled into his home office, powered up his computer, and began documenting everything he could remember, dates, names, suspicious incidents. Each entry fueled the cold rage building in his chest. The facade of their perfect marriage had cracked, revealing the rot beneath. But Art Sterling wasn't a man who simply accepted betrayal. He was a man who calculated, planned, and executed with precision. And Gwen was about to learn that she'd grossly underestimated the man she'd married. Art's footsteps echoed through the hallway of Esme's modern apartment building. His sister had always preferred the artistic district of the city, away from the manufactured perfection of the suburbs. Today, that distance felt like a blessing. He knocked on her door, his knuckles rapping out a familiar pattern. Esme opened it immediately, her artist's smock splattered with fresh paint. You sounded serious on the phone, she said, ushering him inside. The apartment smelled of oil paints and coffee, a combination Art had always found comforting. Today, even that couldn't settle his churning thoughts. I need to tell you something. Art's voice was steady, controlled. He settled into one of Esme's mismatched chairs while she perched on her worn leather couch. About Gwen? Esme's expression darkened. What has she done? Art detailed Nadia's revelation, each word precise and measured. He watched his sister's face transform from concern to anger to disgust. That manipulative witch, Esme spat, jumping to her feet. She began pacing, her hands gesturing wildly. I knew something was wrong. The way she'd look at other men when you weren't watching. How she'd dismiss your achievements, make little comments to undermine you. You tried to warn me, Art acknowledged, his fingers drumming against the armrest. I didn't want to see it. Because you're a good man, Art. Esme stopped pacing, fixing him with an intense stare. You believe in loyalty, in commitment. She used that against you. Not anymore. Art's voice carried a dangerous edge. Nadia is going to live stream their next meeting to every spouse. Esme's eyes widened. That's brutal. A slow smile spread across her face. Good. I need your help, yes. Art leaned forward, his expression intense. You notice things. Details others miss. I need those eyes now. You have them. Esme sat beside him, taking his hand. Whatever you need, I'm here. We'll make her pay for every lie, every betrayal. It's not just about revenge, Art clarified, his grip tightening on her hand. It's about justice. For everyone she's hurt, everyone she's manipulated. What's your plan? First, we watch it burn. Art pulled out his phone, showing her the message from Nadia confirming the next meeting's location. Then we'll sift through the ashes for evidence. The next evening found Art and Esme in his home office, multiple screens displaying different angles of the live stream from Caleb Thorne's house. They weren't alone. Across the neighborhood, other spouses were watching, their worlds crumbling with each revealed betrayal. The scene unfolded like a perverse theater production. Gwen, the star of her own depraved show, orchestrated the couples with practiced ease. Her laugh carried through the speakers as she assigned partners, her eyes bright with malicious glee. Look at Monica Thorne, Esme pointed to one screen. She's heading home early. She'll see this. Art nodded, his expression carved from stone. Another screen showed Caleb and Gwen, their hands all over each other, oblivious to the impending explosion. The first scream cut through the feed, a wife discovering her husband in a compromising position. Then another, and another. The carefully orchestrated party descended into chaos as betrayed spouses burst in, their fury unleashed. Gwen's face appeared in close-up, her expression shifting from confusion to horror as she realized their secret was exposed. The last frame before the feed cut showed her reaching for her phone, no doubt trying to call Art. She'll come here, Esme said, watching Art's phone light up with Gwen's call. What do you want to do? Let her panic. Art silenced the phone. Let her wonder how much I know, how much everyone knows. His voice was cold, calculating. Tomorrow, we start gathering evidence. Every text, every email, every bank statement. I want it all. She'll try to delete everything. Too late. Art's smile was predatory. I already have Leo working on it. He's been backing up her data for the past 24 hours. Esme studied her brother's face. Gone was the easygoing man who'd forgiven Gwen's small transgressions. In his place sat someone harder, someone capable of calculating revenge served cold. She never saw this coming, did she? Esme mused. She thought you were too trusting, too naive to fight back. Her mistake. Art stood, his movements precise and controlled. She confused kindness with weakness. Now she'll learn the difference. The following days passed in a blur of focused activity. Art moved through his daily routine with mechanical precision, maintaining the facade of normalcy while methodically building his case against Gwen. His home office became a command center. 3 laptops ran continuously, each dedicated to a different aspect of his investigation. Screenshots, financial records, and surveillance footage covered the walls, connected by red strings that tracked the web of betrayal. Leo arrived on the 3rd day, his usual cynical humor subdued by the magnitude of what they discovered. He settled into the spare chair, his fingers flying over his keyboard. You want the good news or the bad news first? Leo asked, not looking up from his screen. All of it. Art's voice was steady, his eyes fixed on the data, scrolling past. Good news. Gwen's been sloppy. Left digital fingerprints everywhere. Leo pulled up several windows. Email trails, bank transfers, even recorded some of your conversations without consent, which is illegal, by the way. And the bad news? The depth of it? Leo's expression hardened. She and Caleb, they've been systematically draining your accounts. Small amounts spread over time. Wouldn't notice unless you were looking specifically for it. Art's fingers tightened on his desk. How much? Over the past 2 years? Close to $500,000. Leo pulled up a spreadsheet. They used the money for their little adventures. Luxury hotels, expensive gifts, private retreats. Show me everything. Leo hesitated. Art, man, some of this stuff, the recordings especially. Show me. The next hour was brutal. Video after video showed Gwen mocking Art to her lovers, revealing his private moments, turning his vulnerabilities into entertainment. Her laugh echoed through the speakers, sharp and cruel. She's been gaslighting you, Leo observed, his voice tight with anger, making you question your judgment, your memories. Classic manipulation tactics. Can you trace all the financial transactions? Already done? Leo handed over a thumb drive. Everything's here. Bank records, credit card statements, hotel receipts. Plus some interesting emails between Gwen and Caleb about their investment strategy. Their code for stealing your money. Art plugged in the drive, his expression unchanging as he reviewed the evidence. Each document, each recording, each betrayal was cataloged and filed with surgical precision. What are you thinking? Leo asked, watching his friend's methodical approach. I'm thinking it's time to show everyone who Gwen really is. Art's voice carried no emotion, just cold certainty. Not just the neighbors, everyone. Her family, her friends, her clients. That's pretty scorched earth, man. She burned it first. Art turned to face his friend. Will you help me? Leo studied him for a long moment. You know I will. But Art, this kind of revenge, it changes people. I'm already changed. Art stood, moving to the evidence wall. She made sure of that. Now I'm just making her face the consequences of her actions. They worked through the night building their case. Leo's expertise unearthed more evidence. Hidden accounts, secret messages, an entire shadow life Gwen had constructed while maintaining her facade of the perfect wife. Look at this, Leo called out near dawn. She's been recording your therapy sessions with Dr. Vance, using them to fine-tune her manipulation. Art's expression didn't change, but his eyes grew colder. Add it to the file. Every piece of evidence, every betrayal, every lie. I want it all documented. What's the endgame here? Justice. Art's voice was quiet but firm. Not just for me. For every spouse she's helped betray. Every relationship she's destroyed. Every life she's damaged for her own amusement. Leo nodded slowly. Then let's make it count. They continued working as the sun rose, building an airtight case against Gwen and her conspirators. Art's methodical nature served him well, turning pain into purpose, betrayal into ammunition. The woman who thought she'd married a pushover was about to discover she'd actually married a strategist. And Art Sterling was preparing to wage a war she'd never see coming. Art sat in his home office, surrounded by multiple screens displaying various social media platforms and news websites. Leo worked silently beside him, fingers flying across his keyboard as they prepared to execute their plan. Everything's ready, Leo announced, glancing at his friend. Once we release this, there's no taking it back. Art nodded, his expression resolute. Do it. With a few keystrokes, Leo began uploading the carefully curated evidence. First came the recordings, dozens of videos showing Gwen mocking Art to her lovers, revealing intimate details of their marriage, laughing about his trust in her. Look at this, Leo muttered, monitoring the initial responses. The first video's already gone viral. Notifications began flooding their screens as the evidence spread across platforms. Gwen's face appeared in video after video, her cruel laughter echoing through their speakers as she detailed her manipulations. Art's phone buzzed, Gwen calling. He silenced it without a glance. Moving to phase 2, Leo announced, uploading financial records to business news sites and investigative journalists. The documents painted a damning picture. Systematic theft, fraudulent transactions, misappropriated funds. Send the package to Caleb's board of directors. Art instructed, his voice steady. Make sure they see exactly how their CEO has been operating. Leo complied, dispatching emails containing proof of Caleb's financial misconduct. His shareholders are going to have a field day with this. The response was immediate and overwhelming. Hashtag Gwen Sterling Exposed began trending on social media. News outlets picked up the story, broadcasting segments about the scandal. Caleb's company's stock price began to plummet as investors reacted to the revelations. Esme arrived with coffee, surveying their work. Have you seen Gwen's social media? Art pulled up his wife's profiles. Her accounts were flooded with angry comments, former friends expressing their disgust, clients distancing themselves. Her carefully crafted image of sophistication and success crumbled with each new revelation. Caleb's company is calling an emergency board meeting, Leo reported, monitoring business feeds. 3 major clients have already suspended their contracts. Good. Art's voice carried no emotion. They deserve to lose everything they built on lies and betrayal. His phone lit up again, this time with a text from Caleb. You've gone too far. We need to talk. Art showed the message to Leo, who snorted. Rich coming from him. Want me to trace his location? No need. Art composed a reply. Everything you're experiencing is the consequence of your own actions. There's nothing to discuss. Esme touched his shoulder. You okay? Better than okay. Art's eyes remained fixed on the screens, watching the destruction unfold. This isn't about revenge anymore. It's about justice. Incoming, Leo warned. Gwen's going live on Instagram. They watched as Gwen appeared, her makeup perfect, but her eyes wild. Art, please, she pleaded to the camera. We could talk about this. Whatever you think you know. Art cut the feed with a click. No more manipulation. No more lies. The day progressed as their evidence continued to spread. More victims came forward, sharing their own stories of betrayal. The scandal expanded beyond their neighborhood, becoming a cautionary tale about infidelity and financial fraud. Check this out. Leo called up a news article. Caleb's board has suspended him pending investigation. His wife's filed for divorce. Art nodded, satisfaction evident in his posture. And Gwen? Her client list is evaporating. 3 speaking engagements canceled. The charity board she sits on has requested her resignation. Leo scrolled through updates. She's radioactive now. She made her choices, Art stated flatly. Now she faces the consequences. Esme studied her brother's composed demeanor. You've been planning this for weeks, haven't you? The timing, the platforms, the media contacts. Of course. Art's lips curved slightly. Gwen taught me the importance of careful preparation. I just applied the lesson differently than she expected. Their phones buzzed simultaneously. A mass email from Gwen to friends and family, attempting damage control. Her desperate explanations rang hollow against the mountain of evidence they'd released. Should we respond? Leo asked. No need. Art stood, stretching. The truth speaks for itself. They worked through the night, monitoring reactions and releasing additional evidence at strategic intervals. Each new revelation drove home the extent of Gwen and Caleb's betrayals. By morning, their world had completely unraveled. Gwen's professional reputation was destroyed, her social circle shattered. Caleb faced criminal investigations and shareholder lawsuits. Their comfortable lives, built on deception and exploitation, lay in ruins. Phase 1 complete, Leo announced, closing his laptop. Want to start on the personal profiles? Art checked his watch. Not yet. Let them panic for a while. Let them see how it feels to lose control of their narrative. Cold, Leo commented with approval. Remind me never to cross you. You wouldn't, Art replied simply. You understand loyalty. The sun rose on a changed landscape. Art had transformed from victim to victor, his calculated exposure of their crimes serving both personal vengeance and public justice. But this was just the beginning. He had more plans for those who had betrayed him. Art surveyed the digital battlefield from his makeshift command center, surrounded by screens displaying various social media feeds. Leo sat nearby, creating elaborate fake profiles with meticulous attention to detail. These need to be perfect, Art instructed, reviewing each fabricated identity. The kind of people they'd trust without question. Already on it, Leo pulled up several completed profiles. Meet Jessica Chun, divorced mom of 2, recently moved to the area. And here's Marcus Reynolds, successful real estate investor looking for new opportunities. Perfect. Art leaned forward, studying the personas they'd created. Start with Monica Thorne. She's Caleb's weak point, the one person he might still trust. Leo began typing, crafting a message from Jessica to Monica. The words were carefully chosen, sympathetic but revealing, sharing insider information about Caleb's other affairs predating the scandal. Now we wait, Art murmured, watching the message indicator show delivered. The response came within minutes. Monica, already devastated by the public revelations, eagerly engaged with someone who seemed to understand her pain. She's hooked, Leo reported. Moving to phase 2? Art nodded. Start seeding doubts about the others. Make her question every interaction, every conversation she ever had with them. They worked methodically through their list of targets. Each fake profile served a specific purpose, designed to exploit particular vulnerabilities. Marcus connected with Caleb's business associates, sharing confidential information about his other fraudulent dealings. Jessica networked with the wives, revealing private conversations and betrayals that went beyond the public scandal. Look at this, Leo called out. The whole group's turning on each other. Monica just posted screenshots of private messages from Sarah accusing David of initiating the affairs. Art watched the chaos unfold with calculated satisfaction. Their trust was always artificial, built on mutual exploitation. We're just exposing the cracks. The strategy expanded beyond social media. Anonymous tips reached employers, country clubs, and social organizations. Each revelation was carefully crafted to maximize impact while maintaining plausible deniability. Gwen's closest friend Patricia is calling, Leo announced, monitoring the phone intercepts they'd set up. Art gestured for him to play the conversation. How could you? Patricia's voice cracked with emotion. I defended you, Gwen. I stood by you. And now I find out you were sleeping with James the entire time? Patty, please, Gwen pleaded. It's not what you think. Save it. I've seen the proof. The messages, the pictures. You were supposed to be my friend. The line went dead. Art smiled coldly. Send the rest of the evidence to their social circle. Let everyone see how Gwen betrayed her best friend. Hour by hour, relationship by relationship, they systematically dismantled the network of lies and betrayal. Each new revelation triggered a cascade of accusations and counter-accusations among the former conspirators. They're eating each other alive, Leo observed, tracking the meltdown across multiple platforms. Sarah's accused 3 different couples of starting the whole thing. Nobody trusts anybody anymore. Good. Art's voice was steel. Let them experience the betrayal they inflicted on others. Esme arrived with fresh coffee, examining their progress. Gwen's trying to do damage control at the country club. Not for long. Art pulled up a new document. Send this recording to the membership board. Let them hear her mocking their provincial little gatherings while exploiting their connections. The recording went out. Within hours, Gwen's membership was suspended pending review. Her carefully cultivated social status crumbled like a house of cards. Moving on to financial relationships, Leo announced. I've got access to their investment group chat. Perfect. Art reviewed the messages. Show them how Caleb and Gwen were manipulating property values for their own benefit. Make sure everyone sees who they were really working with. The investment group imploded spectacularly. Years of partnership dissolved in a flurry of accusations and threats of legal action. Caleb and Gwen's financial network, already weakened by the public scandal, shattered completely. They're running out of allies, Leo noted, tracking the fallout. Every time they reach out for help, someone new turns against them. Because we're not fabricating anything, Art replied coldly. We're just making sure everyone sees the truth about who they really are. The destruction was methodical and complete. By nightfall, Gwen and her co-conspirators had lost their last vestiges of social support. Former friends became accusers. Allies transformed into enemies. The community they'd manipulated turned against them with brutal finality. Last phase, Art announced, pulling up a final set of messages. Release everything to their families. Let them see how their children, parents, and siblings were discussed in private conversations. Leo hesitated. That's going to destroy what's left of their personal lives. They did that themselves? Art's voice was implacable. We're just making sure they can't hide from the consequences. The final revelations went out, spreading through family groups and private messages. The response was devastating. Decades-old relationships fractured under the weight of exposed betrayals. It's done, Leo announced quietly. Their social network is completely destroyed. Art nodded, satisfaction evident in his posture. They thought they were untouchable, protected by their web of lies and manipulation. Now they know better. Morning sunlight streamed through the windows of Esme's studio as Art worked on his latest design project. The space had become his sanctuary during the past weeks, a place to focus his energy while his plans unfolded. The door burst open. Gwen stood in the entrance, her designer outfit wrinkled, her usual perfect appearance showing signs of strain. Dark circles under her eyes betrayed sleepless nights. "How could you do this to me?" Her voice trembled with rage and disbelief. "I am your wife, the one person you should love most. And you did all this." Art continued working, his movements deliberate and controlled. "Wife?" He didn't bother looking up. "You haven't been my wife for a long time. Everything we built together. Everything I built," Art corrected coldly. "Everything you exploited and betrayed." He reached for his laptop, typing quickly. Multiple screens around the studio came to life, each displaying a different video. Gwen's voice filled the space, laughing as she mocked Art to her lovers, revealing intimate details of their marriage for others' amusement. Gwen's face drained of color as she watched herself. "Where did you get these?" "You recorded them," Art replied evenly. "Remember? You thought it was funny, sharing my private moments with your lovers, making me look foolish. I never meant to get caught." Art finally looked at her, his eyes hard. "That's your problem, Gwen. You never thought about consequences. You never imagined I might not be the fool you thought I was. We can fix this," she pleaded, taking a step forward. "We can rebuild." "There's nothing to rebuild." Art's voice cut like a blade. "You're not here because you want to save our marriage. You're here because you've lost everything else. Your reputation, your social status, your lover, your friends. You destroyed my life." "No." Art stood, his presence commanding. "You destroyed it yourself? Every lie, every betrayal, every manipulation, those were your choices. I just made sure everyone saw who you really are." Gwen's expression shifted, a familiar manipulative smile appearing. "Art, baby, you're right. I made mistakes. Terrible mistakes. But we had something special once. We could have that again." Art laughed, the sound devoid of warmth. "Still trying to manipulate me? Even now?" He pressed a button on his phone. A new recording played, Gwen's voice discussing her manipulation tactics with Caleb. "He's so predictable," Art quoted along with the recording. "Just smile, touch his arm, and he'll believe whatever I tell him. That's what you thought of me. That's what you really believed." Gwen's facade cracked. "What do you want from me?" "Nothing." Art's voice was final. "You're not here to negotiate. You're here to understand one thing. Your games are over. Your manipulation is finished. You have no power here anymore. You can't just throw away 8 years of marriage. You did that 39 times, according to Nadia." Art's smile was razor-sharp. "I'm just making it official. I'll fight you," Gwen threatened, desperation entering her voice. "I'll tell everyone." "What?" Art interrupted. "What's left to tell? Everyone knows what you are now. Everyone's seen the evidence. Your word means nothing anymore." Tears filled Gwen's eyes. "Please, Art. I love you." "No." Art turned back to his work. "You loved what you could take from me. That's done now. This isn't over." Gwen spat, her mask of vulnerability vanishing. "It was over the moment Nadia told me the truth." Art didn't bother looking at her. "You just didn't know it yet." The door slammed as Gwen left. Art continued working, his expression unchanged. He'd known this confrontation was coming, had prepared for it. Her attempts at manipulation were predictable. He'd counted on them. His phone buzzed with a message from Leo. "Got everything?" "Yes," Art replied. "Full audio and video of her trying to manipulate me one last time. Save it for the divorce proceedings." He returned to his design work, satisfaction settling over him. Gwen had finally seen him clearly, not as the trusting fool she'd married, but as the man she'd created through her betrayal. A man who no longer believed in second chances or empty promises. The confrontation marked the end of an era. Their marriage, built on lies and manipulation, was truly over. But for Art, it wasn't an ending. It was a confirmation of his transformation, proof that he'd become someone stronger, someone who would never be victimized again. His phone buzzed again, Another message from Leo. Phase 3? Not yet, Art replied. Let's give her time to realize exactly how completely she's lost everything. The legal battle can wait until she's truly desperate. He smiled, remembering Gwen's tears, her attempts at manipulation, her final desperate threats. She thought she was confronting the same man she'd married, trusting, forgiving, easily swayed by emotion. Instead, she'd faced someone of her own making, a man who'd learned from her betrayal, who'd turned her own tactics against her, who understood that true power lay not in manipulation but in cold, methodical justice. Art returned to his work, already anticipating the next phase of his plan. The confrontation had confirmed what he already knew. There was no going back. Only forward toward complete and final victory. Detective Inspector Jasper Davies sat in his office, methodically reviewing the mountain of evidence before him. What had started as a routine investigation into financial irregularities had evolved into one of the most fascinating cases of his career. Inspector, his assistant called from the doorway. Mr. Sterling's lawyer is here. Davies nodded, straightening his tie. The lawyer entered, followed by Art Sterling himself. Davies had expected someone broken by betrayal. Instead, he found himself facing a man of steel determination. Mr. Sterling, Davies gestured to the chairs. Thank you for coming in. Call me Art. He placed a thick folder on the desk. Here's everything you requested, plus additional evidence we've uncovered. Davies opened the folder, eyebrows rising as he scanned the contents. Bank statements, transaction records, emails, all meticulously organized and annotated. This is comprehensive. I believe in being thorough. Art's voice carried no emotion. You'll find proof of systematic fraud spanning the past 3 years. Gwen and Caleb didn't just steal from me. They exploited multiple victims. The detective spread out several documents. Walk me through the financial trail. Art pointed to specific transactions. Here's where they began skimming from my accounts. Small amounts at first, growing bolder over time. They laundered the money through Caleb's real estate ventures, using inflated property valuations to hide their theft. And these recordings? Gwen's own work. Art's smile was sharp. She recorded our private conversations, shared them with her lovers. Illegal surveillance, among other charges. Davies studied him carefully. You've built quite a case. Justice requires evidence. Art met his gaze steadily. I'm sure you'll find everything properly documented. The door opened again. Inspector, Dr. Eleanor Vance is here. Dr. Vance entered, her professional demeanor intact despite the circumstances. Davies noted how she avoided looking directly at Art. Doctor, Davies began, please tell us about your sessions with the Sterlings. I've reviewed my notes and recordings. Dr. Vance spoke carefully. Looking back, the pattern is clear. Gwen used our sessions to manipulate narratives, gaslighting Art while presenting herself as the concerned wife. Could you be more specific? She would subtly twist events, making Art question his memories and perceptions. Classic manipulation tactics. Meanwhile, Art was consistently honest, even when it didn't paint him in the best light. Art remained silent, watching as Dr. Vance detailed months of psychological manipulation. His expression never changed, but his fingers tightened slightly on his armrest. And what's your professional opinion of Mr. Sterling's mental state during this period? Despite Gwen's attempts to undermine him, Art maintained remarkable stability. His responses in our sessions showed someone dealing with gaslighting through strength and rationality. Davies made notes, then turned to Art. Your lawyers filed for complete annulment? Yes, along with criminal charges and financial restitution. Art's voice was precise. The evidence shows not just infidelity, but systematic fraud, emotional abuse, and criminal conspiracy. What about Caleb Thorne? His board's internal investigation revealed extensive misconduct. Several clients have filed separate lawsuits. Art handed over another file. You'll find their statements included. Davies whistled softly as he reviewed the new documents. The case had grown far beyond a simple matter of marital betrayal. This was organized criminal activity spanning years. One more thing, Art produced a final envelope. proof that Gwen and Caleb attempted to destroy evidence after the investigation began. That's obstruction of justice. How did you obtain this? Legally. Art's smile never reached his eyes. They're not as clever at covering their tracks as they think. Davies sat back, surveying the evidence before him. Everything was perfectly organized, each charge supported by multiple sources of proof. Art Sterling hadn't just built a case. He constructed an inescapable trap. I'll need statements from other victims, Davies mused. Already arranged? Art checked his phone. They'll be here this afternoon. Each one has documented evidence of how Gwen and Caleb exploited them. Dr. Vance shifted uncomfortably. Will you need anything further from me? Your testimony about the psychological manipulation will be crucial. Davies gathered the files. Especially given your professional standing. The meeting continued for hours as they reviewed evidence, prepared statements, and built an airtight case. Art participated with cold efficiency, his emotions locked away behind a mask of professional detachment. Later that evening, Davies sat alone in his office, reviewing his notes. The case was unprecedented in its scope and detail. Art Sterling had transformed from victim to architect of justice, methodically ensuring that every betrayal, every crime, would be answered for. His phone buzzed, a message from the prosecutor's office. They were moving forward with indictments. Gwen and Caleb's lives were about to implode completely, their careers and reputations destroyed not by scandal, but by the inexorable machinery of law. Davies smiled grimly. Sometimes justice wore a suit and carried a briefcase instead of a badge. Art stood in the newly renovated art studio, watching Esme arrange her latest collection. Natural light streamed through the industrial windows, illuminating the space they'd transformed together. The renovation had been therapeutic, a way to channel his energy into creation rather than destruction. This space turned out perfect. Esme beamed, adjusting a canvas. I never would have done this without you. You always had the talent, Art replied, examining one of her paintings. You just needed someone to believe in it. The studio buzzed with activity as staff prepared for the evening's gallery opening. Art had invested not just money, but his business expertise, transforming his sister's dream into a thriving enterprise. His phone vibrated, another message from Monica Thorne. Like many of the betrayed spouses, she'd reached out for help navigating the aftermath of the scandal. Monica's divorce proceedings are stuck, Art informed Esme. I'm connecting her with my lawyer. You're helping all of them, aren't you? Esme studied her brother. The other spouses, they deserve justice too. Art moved to his laptop, pulling up several documents. I'm providing resources, legal contacts, whatever they need to rebuild. The gallery door chimed. Nadia entered, carrying coffee and fresh pastries. Thought you could use breakfast, she smiled, setting down the treats. Art's expression softened slightly. Their relationship had evolved naturally, built on a foundation of truth and mutual respect. Nadia had seen him at his darkest moment and stood beside him without flinching. The neighborhood association called, she reported, perching on a nearby stool. They want you to head the rebuilding committee. Interesting. Art accepted the coffee she offered. The community needs healing. They trust you, Nadia observed. You expose the rot, but you also help people recover. A notification popped up on Art's screen. His new graphic design firm had landed another major contract. The business was thriving, his reputation for precision and professionalism attracting high-profile clients. Remember when you just did book covers? Esme teased. Now you're building an empire. I learned the importance of control. Art's voice carried no regret. Never again will someone else determine my worth. The afternoon brought a steady stream of visitors. Other betrayed spouses seeking advice, gallery staff finalizing details, business associates discussing projects. Art handled each interaction with measured confidence, his former easygoing persona replaced by something more commanding. Sarah Matthews asked about support groups. Nadia mentioned during a quiet moment. I thought we could use the gallery's event space. Art nodded. Set it up. They need a safe place to heal. His tone remained businesslike, but his actions spoke of deeper understanding. As evening approached, Art reviewed the gallery's financial projections. His investment had paid off exponentially, turning Esme's artistic vision into a commercial success. "You've changed," Esme noted, watching him work. "But not in the way Gwen feared. You're stronger now, more focused." "I became who I needed to be." Art closed his laptop. The man who trusted blindly died with his illusions. This version knows better. Nadia squeezed his shoulder gently. This version builds instead of breaks. Art covered her hand with his, a rare display of affection. Their relationship wasn't built on grand gestures or burning passion, but on solid trust and mutual respect. "The gallery opening starts in an hour," Esme announced. "Ready to play host?" "Always." Art straightened his tie, every inch the successful businessman. He'd transformed himself from deceived husband to community leader, from victim to victor. The gallery filled with guests, art lovers, business contacts, neighborhood friends. Art moved through the crowd with practiced ease, his presence commanding respect without demanding it. Later, watching Esme charm potential buyers, Art felt a deep satisfaction. He'd channeled his pain into purpose, building something meaningful from the ashes of betrayal. "Penny for your thoughts?" Nadia appeared at his side. Just appreciating the view, Art gestured to the thriving gallery. "This is real, built on truth, not lies. Like us?" Her question carried no pressure, no manipulation. "Yes." Art's response was simple but genuine. "Exactly like us?" Art sat in his home office, examining the unexpected package that had arrived that morning. The flash drive inside contained a video that validated every decision he'd made. The footage played on his screen. Gwen and Caleb outside Mr. Thorne's mansion, their designer clothes wrinkled, their polished facades cracked. They argued bitterly, blaming each other for their downfall. "This is your fault." Gwen's voice cracked with hysteria. "Your stupid schemes got us caught." "Me?" Caleb snarled back. "You're the one who couldn't keep your mouth shut. Always bragging. Always pushing for more." They approached the mansion's door, desperation evident in their bearing. Mr. Thorne answered, his expression contemptuous as they begged for help. "Please, Dad," Caleb pleaded. "Just a loan to get back on our feet. The legal fees are crushing us. Why should I help you?" Mr. Thorne's voice dripped with disdain. "You destroyed our family's reputation. You're no son of mine." The door slammed in their faces, leaving them shocked and broken. The mighty had fallen, their arrogance shattered against the consequences of their actions. Art watched the video twice more, analyzing their destruction with clinical detachment. His phone buzzed, Leo checking in. "Got the package?" Leo asked. "Yes." Art's voice was steady. "Source?" "One of Thorne's security guards. Thought you'd appreciate the footage. Send copies to their remaining social circle." Art's decision was immediate. "Let everyone see what they've become." "Cold," Leo commented. "But fitting." Art ended the call, reflecting on the journey that had brought him here. The trusting husband he'd been seemed like a stranger now, someone naive, easily deceived. His email pinged. The neighborhood association had unanimously approved his proposal for community rebuilding projects. They trusted him now more than ever, seeing strength in how he'd handled betrayal. Another message appeared, Dr. Vance requesting his participation in a study about overcoming psychological manipulation. He'd become something of an expert on the subject, his experience providing valuable insights for others. The video continued playing silently on his screen. Art watched his wife, soon-to-be ex-wife, crumble under the weight of her choices. She'd thought him weak, malleable, easily controlled. She'd never imagined he could become this version of himself. His intercom buzzed. "Your 4 o'clock is here," his assistant announced. "Send them in." Art closed the video, but didn't delete it. Like everything else, it would be perfectly preserved, a reminder of lessons learned. A young couple entered, more betrayed spouses seeking guidance. Art welcomed them with professional courtesy, ready to share his hard-won wisdom. He was no longer defined by Gwen's betrayal. He'd taken that pain and forged it into something useful, something powerful. The man who sat behind the desk wasn't a victim seeking revenge, but a survivor sharing strength. The flash drive sat on his desk, a small token of final victory. He'd send copies, of course, One last twist of the knife to ensure Gwen and Caleb could never rebuild their facades of respectability. But it didn't matter anymore. He had transformed, evolved beyond their betrayal. His new life, built on truth and strength, stood as testament to his resilience. Art Sterling had emerged from the darkness stronger, more focused, more powerful than before. He would never forget, but he would never be controlled by those memories again. He was free, and that was the greatest victory of all. Epilogue. 5 years later, the Sterling Design Group headquarters occupied the top 3 floors of a prestigious downtown building. Art Sterling sat in his corner office, reviewing quarterly reports that showed consistent growth across all divisions. His company had expanded from graphic design to a full-service creative agency, known for its ruthless precision and uncompromising standards. A news alert flashed on his screen, another article about Gwen. He clicked it out of habit, though he no longer felt anything when reading about his ex-wife's downfall. Still following the saga, Leo asked from the doorway. As chief security officer, he'd transformed Art's company into a digital fortress. Professional curiosity, Art gestured to the headline. Former socialite Gwendolyn Sterling denied early release. 3 years down, 7 to go, Leo noted, settling into a chair. The fraud charges really stuck. They found more victims. Art pulled up another article. The investigation expanded to 3 other states. Similar schemes, different victims, pattern of behavior. Leo shrugged. She couldn't help herself. The articles painted a grim picture. After her conviction, investigations had revealed Gwen's history of manipulation and fraud stretched back decades. Each new discovery had added years to her sentence, her dreams of early release repeatedly shattered by fresh evidence. Caleb's not doing much better, Leo reported, sliding over a tablet. Living in a studio apartment in Nevada, working entry-level sales. His father cut him off completely. Art scanned the surveillance photos. The once proud real estate mogul had aged dramatically, his designer suits replaced by off-the-rack clothing, his arrogant bearing reduced to defeated slumping. He tried reaching out to some old contacts last month, Leo continued. Nobody would touch him. Your exposure was too thorough. What about the others? Art's question encompassed all those who'd participated in the betrayal. Most divorced. Some left the state. The ones who showed genuine remorse and cooperated with the investigation have rebuilt their lives. Leo pulled up more files. The ones who didn't, Art nodded, understanding. Their fates have been sealed by their own choices, just like Gwen and Caleb's. His intercom buzzed. Mr. Sterling, your sister's gallery opening starts in an hour. Thanks, Claire. Art stood, adjusting his tie. Coming, Leo? They took Art's private elevator to the parking garage where Nadia waited in their car. After 3 years of marriage, she remained his strongest ally, her initial instinct about Gwen's deception having led to this transformed reality. Esme's nervous, she reported as they drove. This is her biggest show yet. Art smiled slightly. His sister's artistic career had soared after he'd helped her establish her first gallery. Now she owned a chain of prestigious galleries across the country, her eye for talent making her a respected figure in the art world. The gallery space was packed with collectors and critics. Esme, confident and polished, worked the room like a natural, her success built on genuine talent rather than manipulation. Detective Davies, Art greeted the familiar face in the crowd. Though retired now, Davies had remained a friend after the case that had made his career. Art, Davies shook his hand warmly. Just saw the latest news about Gwen. More victims came forward? A pattern dating back to college. Davies lowered his voice. She tried the same schemes under different names. The prosecutors are building a new case. Art absorbed this without reaction. Gwen's true nature had been exposed completely, her lifetime of deception unraveling thread by thread. Dr. Vance's book is doing well, Davies added. Her analysis of the case has become required reading in psychology courses. The book, Patterns of Betrayal, a case study in systematic manipulation, had brought academic attention to the psychological aspects of the case. Dr. Vance's detailed examination of Gwen's manipulation techniques had helped other victims recognize similar patterns in their own relationships. Across the room, Monica Thorne arrived with her new husband. After Art had helped her through her divorce from Caleb, she'd rebuilt her life completely. Now she ran a support group for victims of manipulation, turning her experience into a source of help for others. The neighborhood's changed, Nadia commented, following Art's gaze. Remember how it was 5 years ago? The old community had dissolved after the scandal, but something stronger had grown in its place. The betrayed spouses who'd stayed had formed a tight-knit support network. Art had helped many of them financially and legally, earning their lasting loyalty. His phone vibrated, another update from the prison where Gwen was held. She tried again to contact him, as she did every few months. Her messages always started with manipulation, then moved to begging, and finally descended into rage when he maintained his silence. Still trying? Nadia asked, noting his expression. Some people never change. Art deleted the notification without reading it. They just face consequences. The evening progressed successfully, with Esme's show drawing significant sales and critical acclaim. Art watched his sisters triumph with genuine pride. They'd both transformed their pain into power, building success on foundations of truth rather than deception. Later, at home, Art reviewed the day's reports one final time. His company continued to grow, expanding into new markets. The sterling name, which Gwen had tried to destroy, now represented success and integrity in the business world. Nadia joined him in his study, carrying their usual evening tea. Their relationship had deepened over the years, built on mutual respect and absolute honesty. They'd welcomed their first child 2 years ago, a daughter they were raising to be strong and discerning. I saw Patricia today, Nadia mentioned. She's writing a book about recovery from betrayal. Patricia, Gwen's former best friend, had become another success story. After discovering Gwen's manipulation of their friendship, she'd channeled her anger into helping others, becoming a counselor specializing in trust trauma. The support group's expanding, Nadia continued. 3 new chapters in different cities. Monica's program is really making a difference. Art nodded, satisfaction evident in his bearing. The ripple effects of his response to betrayal had created positive change far beyond their immediate circle. His measured, calculated approach to justice had become a template for others facing similar situations. A final news alert caught his attention. Caleb Thorne had filed for bankruptcy. His father's recent death had confirmed his complete disinheritance, the family fortune going to charitable foundations instead. Consequences, Art murmured, closing his laptop. Regrets? Nadia asked, though she knew the answer. None. Art's voice was firm. They chose their path. I just ensured they couldn't hide from where it led. Their evenings settled into comfortable routine. Their life, together a testament to what could be built from the ashes of betrayal. Art had emerged from the crucible of deception, not just surviving, but transformed into something stronger, more resolute. He learned to balance justice with mercy, helping those who showed genuine remorse while ensuring that unrepentant manipulators faced the full consequences of their actions. His example had inspired others to stand against betrayal, creating a legacy of strength and resilience. Somewhere in a prison cell, Gwen faced 7 more years of contemplating her choices. In a shabby Nevada apartment, Caleb struggled to make rent. Their elaborate web of lies and manipulation had collapsed completely, leaving them with the bitter fruits of their decisions. But in his rebuilt world, Art Sterling stood as proof that betrayal need not define a person's future. He had transformed victimhood into victory, pain into power, betrayal into strength. His story had become more than personal revenge. It was a testament to the enduring triumph of truth over deception. The man who had once trusted blindly now led with clear-eyed wisdom, his experience forging him into someone who could never be deceived or manipulated again. He had not just survived betrayal. He had transcended it, creating a legacy of strength, justice, and unwavering integrity. In the end, the carousel of deceit had stopped spinning, its operators facing the consequences of their choices, while those they'd tried to deceive rose stronger from the wreckage. Art's new life stood as living proof that the greatest victory over betrayal was not in destruction, but in building something greater from the ruins of broken trust. And there you have it. Another story comes to an end. What did you think? I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoy this story, consider joining our community by subscribing. It means the world to us. For more stories like this one, check out the recommended videos on screen. And I'll see you there.